2026 is going to be an awesome year. We got some pretty cool stuff coming up. First off, we got Foundations of Recovery. This is our flagship program. We're starting it in January.
This is for anyone, man, woman, or couple who wants to come and reclaim their heart from shame, trauma, and betrayal. We start off with an education on all sorts of principles, give you the common language. We feed you from a fire hose in terms of all things recovery.
It is such a great start to recovery. And we get at the roots of things, Tyler. This isn't like any other program. Like, this is our healing journey in process, and Foundations is where we begin.
If you look at the value that you're getting there to kick off a good recovery with all of the right education, all of the right language, and a team to get you started while also being directed by Brannon and myself through the whole process, what a deal.
So if you're interested, if you're struggling, if you've been wanting to do something for a long time, jump into this. This only comes around every so often, and we would love to have you there.
Click the link in the description to sign up for it. And to make it even sweeter, we're also including a raffle for a free pass to the Radiant Dawn retreat. Anyone who signs up for Foundations will be added to the raffle for that free Radiant Dawn pass. If you're a man and you sign up for Foundations, your name still gets entered, and you can give that pass away if you win it to any woman that you want to.
So what you're saying, Tyler, is if you sign up and participate in Foundations, you could possibly go to Radiant Dawn for free?
That's exactly what I'm saying, which is crazy because Foundations by itself is already an insane value.
Man, I sound so salesy. But it actually is awesome. So come to Foundations. And even if you don't come to Foundations, sign up for Radiant Dawn. It's beyond therapy, the best healing experiences that you can have.
Click the link below and come join us. I feel like a burden to others. Why can't I receive their love?
What's up, bro?
What's going on? How you doing?
How's it going? Oh, man. Anytime I'm talking to you, I'm doing good.
I know. It's always good to hear your voice and see your face, man.
Jeez. Yeah, you're not an easy guy to get a hold of. I'm glad we got this weekly thing where we got to at least check in.
It's like I'm like the phantom in our family because I just disappear. So it's nice that we have something consistent.
It's because you're always just out doing good for people. You know? You're serving people, just out just doing good in the world.
I don't know about that, but it is nice to have a weekly appointment with you, Brannon.
Yeah. Well, speaking of good guys, we got one on here today with us. So a guy that we know really well, Jared, welcome to the show.
Jared he's been on the podcast twice already. He's also been to both of the Rising Sun retreats, and he's just a solid dude. So we're glad to have you.
Yeah.
Super glad to be here. Thank you.
Everything we just said to him is probably what we're going to talk about today, about how it's hard to soak that in. So Jared, if you could give us a little bit of background of what's going on with you, how you're feeling, some of the struggles you're going through right now. And then we'll just kind of go from there.
Okay. So it's kind of hard to know where to start, but, as I've been going through the LIFT program, learning about honesty, empathy, and consistency over time, I feel like I'm pretty good at the honesty and empathy parts, but where I've been struggling is consistency. And as I've been digging into that, I realized a couple years ago at the first Rising Sun conference that I didn't have a connection to God. It was all about shame, kind of like shame was my God. And then the next year I went back and realized that same old shame God still had some good tendrils running through me, and probably still has a lot that I need to weed out. And that's just life, I guess. But so most recently, we had my experience up on the mountain with, I don't know if we want to talk about that, but that was the first time I ever really allowed God to truly love me, I think, as well as let the other men, and including you two, fully love me and let myself be accepted. But I'm having a hard time continuing that. And so I think the two go together. I think I struggle with consistency because I don't believe that what I do matters enough. And I also struggle with my wife, with you guys, with my accountability partner, with the other guys in the group that I went to Rising Sun with, just accepting their love, because they'll say, yes, Jared, we love you. You're amazing. You've helped me so much. And in the internal voice inside me is going, oh yeah, but they have to say that. So yeah, I can't accept the good that other people say that I have about myself. It's kind of where I'm at. And I feel this question, like I had a hard time even coming on the podcast today, thinking I was a burden to you guys. Like, oh, here's Jared again, right? And so I'm like, should I tell them that? Because then they'll be like, oh no, Jared, we love you. And it feels so needy, and it feels like almost like you're in the drama triangle, like
caretaking for you.
Caretaking. So yeah, that's where I'm at. It's just confusing to know what to accept, and how much do I hand to God versus how much do I take on myself, and how much do I accept? Or yeah, I don't know. As you can tell, I thought about it quite a bit, but still just confused where to go.
So the two things that you are saying, Jared, that kind of stand out that you see as connected to one another is your consistency, and your sort of like, when you're saying consistency, I'm guessing you're referring to like your day-to-day sort of like, you call them your dailies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that what you're saying? You're seeing a connection between your consistency or lack thereof and your ability to accept the love of others when they're offering it to you.
Yeah, which probably, as you're saying, that means that I don't love myself enough, right? Maybe the connection is. Sorry, I'm just thinking of a connection as you're talking, but yeah, sounds about right.
I actually wonder about something completely opposite from what you just said, Jared. Is it's almost this feeling, and tell me if I'm wrong, of like, I need to be consistent, and like, and I'm even hearing some kind of perfectionistic stuff. I need to be consistent. I need to be perfect in order to be lovable, in order to be okay.
No, it's funny you say that, because I asked Brannon recently about getting a new therapist, and she mentioned perfectionism, which I always had an understanding that perfectionism was somebody who tries and kills himself to get things done, but feels they fall short. But she explained to me that there's another side of it that's basically, I'm never going to be good enough, so why try? Yeah. And I'm having I can see that, but I don't know if I fully accept it. But yeah, I can see that in myself.
Well, when with what happened at the retreat, and I'm happy to talk about it, but
okay,
it's if you are, but like, it's like I need to not do these things. I need to be perfect in order to be okay with God, and you identified that as the God of shame. And you know what I'm hearing and feeling from you, Jared, is you kind of wallowing in some of this shame of like, why am I messing up? Why am I not consistent? Why am I not okay? And you know, at this point in the game, I should be just like rock star of recovery and sobriety and perfectionism. Is that kind of yeah?
I mean, because before Lyft, like, I've been doing recovery type work. Some of it, which probably was detrimental, but that's a whole nother topic we could get into. But for like most of my marriage, and even before we were married, and so it's like, why am I still here?
The lens that you look through right now has much focus on deficiency, and not much focus on success and positivity. Is what I'm feeling. Because Jared, you're a different man than the man that I first met.
I can feel that about myself too, but
okay.
I see a total work in progress over the years that we've known you now, Jared, that you are a different man today than you were the first time around. I do think we ought to get into a little bit with like your experience at this most recent retreat, because it's speaking a little bit to what Brannon's saying and where you're going with it. And I think our listeners could actually hear the context of it and maybe understand what we're talking about here. So if you're the kind of a guy who has lived with, you call it the God of shame for so long, that says, in essence, the only way you can ever be lovable is if you're perfect, and you decide that you don't want to worship that God of shame anymore, then you have to step into a place where you can be loved inside of your imperfections and actually accept that love in order to fracture that belief that says, I can't be loved if I'm not perfect. Right?
Yeah, and let's just go into that really quick so people get the context. Is basically, my wife brought up a good point too, that she believes I stopped or set up this contract with God that I will never swear. And she thinks I put up this contract subconsciously around the time when my pornography addiction started. And so I think that there was this part of me that was like, as long as I don't swear, I'll be good enough for God.
That's like your deal with him. That's your payment. That
I don't remember ever saying
he'll tolerate
that,
you if you don't swear, but you can still keep your porn problem.
Right.
Okay.
That's quite the contract.
Yeah. That's good. Good deal.
Right.
Yeah.
So on the retreat, I mean, I don't want to throw a bunch of guys under the bus, but there's a lot of swearing going on. A lot of people saying, man, I haven't sworn this much in a long time.
We kicked them out. They're not coming back next time because they swore too much.
And the thing is like all the people that were swearing, like I loved them and there was no like hard feelings. I was just like, good for them, but I couldn't do it. And so a couple guys talked to me about like, Jared, you just need to get this out. I'm like, I don't think I can. So I wrote some stuff down in my journal, like a swearing sentence to God. And like even writing it down, I was shaking and crying. But I couldn't say it out loud. And it was at the last day of the retreat where people are just expressing their emotions about what happened over the weekend. Just before that, we had a moment of silence. I'm sorry, I've got some congestion going on. And I tried to go off by myself and like say, God, please just let me like get this out, because I had one voice telling me, don't give in to peer pressure. You can't swear. I had this other voice telling me, trust me, who I'm saying is the real God. Trust me that if you swear, I still love you. Like, just give me that burden. And I couldn't do it. And so we got in our circle. Everybody was saying like how amazing the weekend was. And I was just sitting in the back by myself, like crying and shaking and fidgeting. Finally, I got the courage to go up to the front and say, guys, I need your help. I'm trusting this voice of the adversary telling me I'm not good enough when I'm not listening to you guys telling me how much you'll love me even if I swear, and I'm not trusting God enough. And so I said, can I give my swearing virginity to you guys? And so they had a representative from the group come up and lead me in a swearing mantra.
Who was the representative, Jared?
I didn't want to throw him under the bus, but if he's here, if he wants to speak up. It was Brannon. All right.
Somebody had a potty mouth on that mountain.
Anyways, it was like 40 guys up on top of a mountain chanting this mantra full of swear words over and over again. And I don't know, you guys probably went through it about 10, 15 times before I got the courage to finally do it. But once I finally did that and accepted God's love, that he would love me no matter what, like I can't describe the amazing like energy that went into my body. And it was an energy that was like I could feel it. And when I went home, it was an energy I could pour into my family. It was an energy I could pour into meaningful, like unmeaningful daily tasks like mowing the yard. It's like God cared. He was there for me. And this energy like gave me life. So that's the experience, is handing over the perfection to God and trusting him that I'm good enough.
Well, I want to highlight something here that I think, you definitely can hear it in the story, but this has nothing to do with swearing. This has everything to do with you firing your God and firing this transactional model of God, like transactional love. Like, I need to do this or that or whatever to get God's love. God's love is contingent upon perfectionism. It's contingent upon being good enough. And then for you to be able to swear and feel love from all the men around you, to feel love of the nature there in the mountains, to feel God's love while you're swearing, it blows this whole system of shame to shit. I said that on purpose that way.
Way to go, Brannon.
And so Jared, when you look at that, when you look at that for just a minute, because it seems like what's happened is you've reverted back to worshiping that old God a little bit, right? So in that moment when you were able to let go and to just be, it felt really good. Why have you reverted back?
So here's like the twist in it is I don't feel like I've reverted a lot back with God. I feel like I'm still accepting his love and feeling like he loves me no matter what I do. And this is like a whole nother topic that I've done a lot of thinking on. So we can go in a couple different ways probably right now, but in one sense, I feel like maybe I've made God too easy, but in the other sense, I can accept God's love, but I'm having a hard time accepting people's love. So does that mean that I am I don't know, trying to still get my worth from other people? Is how does that work?
Is there a potential that part of what's happening is, if you're saying you're feeling God's love, typically what you'd experience is that when you feel God's love then unlocks the best things in you, and then you by nature might choose not to swear if that's, because you know who you are and you're going to make those choices. I wonder if you've also been in the world of recovery so long that there's at least a portion of it that says, how many times have you heard someone say to you, you can't get your value from other people. Don't get your value from other people. Don't get your value from other people. Like, and so now all of a sudden people are coming to you and being like, hey dude, you're a rock star, man. I love you. You're amazing. And you're like, almost like, no, I can't do that. No, like if that feels good, that means I'm getting my validation from the wrong source. So maybe I need to shut it down. I don't know if there's any truth to that or not. Maybe not.
No, I'm trying to think. I don't know, honestly, an answer to that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I question, and this is a hard thing to question, but I question the depth and the level to which you actually experience and feel God's love. And let me tell you why, Jared. If you know that you are loved unconditionally, and you as your authentic self, as who Jared is, with no contingencies, just you are perfectly imperfect. Okay. If you know that, and then somebody gets pissed off about who you are or doesn't like who you are, is hurt by who you are, whatever, why does that matter? I mean, you can still care about them. It matters that way. But why does that matter when it comes to your worth?
It's probably just because I'm still uncomfortable with myself.
Yeah.
So like I'm really not, like you said a minute ago, I am reverting back into the old way of thinking because I'm not okay with myself.
That feeling that you had on that mountain, the inside, and when you went home, do you feel it? I mean, have you felt it that strongly recently?
I haven't.
Right. So there's things getting in the way. There's old systems that you're going back into of living a certain way that are creating a level of disconnect there with God. And I know that you were not just resonating in perfect God's love all the time. I know that's not life. But just because you had an experience on a mountain, you went back to all the old inputs of your life and all the old ways of doing things, which put you back in that same feeling of like, yeah, I know God loves me. I experienced that on the mountain. That's great. But I'm just like experiencing this thing over and over again. And so then when Tyler and Brannon give me a bad look, or someone at church says something about me like, well, they're not going to accept me or love me, or I'm just a burden. I'm just a burden to them. Right. So I would say the work is actually coming back to just really practicing that. Whatever you need to do, whatever shame you need to act against, that getting to that place of surrender and grace and love with God more often.
I wonder too, Jared, like just to explore this a little bit from the context of John Eldredge's work a little bit, that as we come to know the love of God inside of us, Eldredge says, we live in a lot of ways with this shame God you were describing, which is I perform, then God loves me. And when you fracture that belief and you get to that place where you honestly have experienced this, I think multiple times now, where you felt the true love of God in your heart, regardless of what you choose to do, even in your imperfections, you were able to feel that love, right? What Eldredge says is that once we start to allow God to teach us who we are, he'll actually tell us who we are. He'll give us new names. And I wonder, Jared, if you're at a kind of a crossroads now where and are starting to be willing to experience the love of God, but that with that love of God and that full experience, you're going to start receiving some of those new names, and those new names might be calling you into a new life. And I wonder if it's easier to stay on the sidelines, go back to those old ways of being, keep people at a distance, rather than accept whatever that new calling is going to be. Not because you have to go do it to be loved, but because once you know who you are, there will be a calling.
And that rings actually pretty true, because I think my original question before coming on the podcast was more like, why do I hate recovery work? Like, why am I so lazy? Right. I think the reason I shy away from consistency, as far as like, I get so hung up on like, I'm not doing my dailies if I'm not reading my scriptures. And I'm not reading my scriptures. They bring me a lot of like anxiety. But so if I step into this new life, I'm getting rid of all of my old comforts and stepping into like pain, because recovery is painful. And so why would I go from a comfortable life, which is
you would just about swore again
to step into pain. So it's kind of like, I went up in the mountains just the other day, jumped in a cold lake, and I told God, like, I don't trust you enough to step into this new life full of hard work.
I wouldn't want to if like the only thing on the other end of that is hard work.
Yeah.
Like I just play more video games and like get by in my marriage, like
which is where I'm at. Well, I stopped the video games. I realized those weren't good for me.
But here's the thing, Jared, like from that angle, yeah. But here you are, like the happiness and peace and freedom. Do you know how it comes? Do you know like how you get there?
I don't know, surrender.
Well, surrender's a part of it, but if you're not happy, if you don't feel freedom and you don't feel peace, then that's an indicator that you're not living in your truth. It's an indicator that you're not living in full integrity in your truth and in your purpose. So here you are, you've comfortably found a place to live out of your truth where you can kind of numb life out enough and play small enough. But over time, the consequences of that are going to build up and build up and build up. And some dominoes are going to fall. You're going to feel more depressed. Maybe your wife asks you to move out. Maybe you start acting out more. So all of a sudden, those things start to come. And that comfortable place that you're in ain't so comfortable anymore.
It's Brannon, it's interesting where, not that this is going to help you, Jared, because you said the scriptures give you anxiety, but I'm going to use a scriptural story for a second.
Bad timing. Bad timing. Jeez.
Hey, maybe this is just what you need, man.
I actually prayed the other night because I want to enjoy them, but I just don't.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Okay. Well, I wonder if you're actually living the actual like lesson to be learned in the story of Jonah, where Jonah, he basically comes from a certain place. God calls him all the way across the country to a place called Nineveh. And Jonah's like, he knows he's been called by God. He knows that that's where he's supposed to go. He knows that he's got to take, in essence, the principles of truth to these people. And instead, he doesn't really want to do it. So he jumps on a boat to go to a different place. And then, of course, there's this big tempest that rises up. You think that could possibly be part of that internal struggle you're having, the wrestle of like, oh, man, like, what should I do with my life? Like, I know what I've been called to, but I don't really want to. And then, of course, after he realizes that he comes to his senses, he goes to the shipmates and they say, hey, we got to get rid of you because you're the reason the tempest is here. Then he goes in and he ends up in the belly of a whale for 3 days, right? What's in the belly of the whale? There's darkness, there's, coldness, but there's security and safety there too. And it's only after he decides that he wants to get rid of that security and safety and he wants to be spit back up and actually go do what God had called him to do that he's then produced forth out of the belly of the whale and he goes on to continue his calling from God, right? That's not a punishment story by God. I think that's more of a story from the inside out of like the hell we put ourselves through as we wrestle with those things that God is coming. In some ways, you're in a more inconvenient space now than you've ever been because you're getting that communication from God. You've got God. You actually can hear his voice. You can actually like not even hear it. You can feel it in your bones. And there's something inside of you that's still trying to manufacture playing small instead of being able to step fully in. And you said, okay, good. That's where you're at. You just went and told God that, hey, I'm too scared still. No, he's cool. He's like, cool, chill in the whale for a few more days. Like, like, that's okay, bud. Like, you already know who I said you are. But eventually you're going to want to come out of that because there's something deep inside of you that has grasped the truth now. And that truth is going to work in you until at such point you decide to let the truth work in your life even more fully than it has.
I think part of what stopped me is fear that like if I go down this path of like, because I felt like my calling for a long time was to just help others through the shame, God, and like really that's, I think shame is one of Satan's greatest tools. And so to help people through that, but I feel like again, back to the perfectionism, I have to be perfect and I guess in a way sober for so long, or there's something subconscious that says you're not
listen
ready.
to what you're saying. So I want to help people through the shame. So I'm going to use my shame to try to be perfect enough so then I can go help people through the shame.
Oh gosh.
Jared, here's something you said, like I feel a calling to help people work through the shame. The fact of the matter is you're a warrior. You're a bad A. And like that's the truth. And Satan wants to snuff that out and push that down as far as possible. And so if you can believe this, I need to be perfect thing, when Tyler brings up coming out of the whale, I hope you don't think coming out of the whale means now you're reading your scriptures perfectly and going to church perfectly and never swearing. And
that's not what I meant.
No. Coming out of the whale means now I'm going to show myself and step into who I really am,
who God said I am. You're getting some of those answers. It's now the action part of that, not because you have to be good, but because you know your goodness.
Jared, that feeling you had before you swore, that feeling like, I don't know if I can do this. You need to get more comfortable with that feeling.
Okay.
And not try harder to be good enough so then you have the right to show up. Rather, it's, I know this is uncomfortable, but it feels right and it feels good and it feels okay. So, and it might blow up in my face if I do this thing or do that thing, but I know that I was made for a purpose. So I'm going to step forward and I'm going to step forward. And that's why you're in some suffering now, because you're trying really hard not to step forward because you're scared of that. Right?
Yeah.
How nice is it that if you continue to have your old patterns, an occasional relapse here and there that doesn't ruin your marriage, but it also precludes you from being able to step into actually helping people overcome shame. Like, man, that occasional relapse is like medicine to your soul. And you're like, oh, well, that'll give me another 3 months before I can be sober enough to help somebody. Like, okay, good. Like, like, oh, good. And then 3 months comes up and you're starting to feel that calling again. And you're like, yeah, well, I haven't been doing my dailies. Maybe I'll just have a little small slip here and then we'll start fresh again. But that's gonna play on your conscience that you have because you've got a good conscience. And eventually you're going to get some things right. So when you go back to what you were saying about that consistency, that consistency isn't the same thing over and over again. It's the pursuit of some level of that feeling you had on the top of the mountain on a daily basis. And you may not get it every day, but you got to pursue it. That's the consistency. I don't care if you read your scriptures every day. Go wrestle with a way to connect to love every day, whether that's through God or others. Maybe one of the steps you have is that when somebody tells you that you're awesome, you practice physically the art of opening your posture and opening your hands and saying thank you. Maybe that's a step in the right direction.
You mean I shouldn't do this like I'm doing right now? Close up a little bit.
Yeah.
See, as you guys are, even right now, it's like, yeah, this all sounds amazing, but what if I'm not able to be consistent? So it's that self-doubt slowly creeping back in.
Yeah. If you can't be perfectly consistent, then you shouldn't try.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I love consistency. Like it's one of the things I talk about all the time, but like I'm about to throw up if I keep hearing this consistent talk thing going on here. Like be consistently self-compassionate. Consistently screw up, Jared. Consistently don't be perfect. Consistently allow yourself not to be consistent. Do you see what I'm saying? And the reason I'm about to throw up is because I know this is a message from your God of shame of, I need to be this consistent person in order to be okay and to be good enough. Let's throw that out the window for a minute.
Okay.
You don't need to be consistent to be loved. You don't need to be consistent to be acceptable. You're more likely to be a consistent person if you don't do those things from that place of trying to be good enough. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's that surrender first before you get to, oh, look how consistent I am in my life. Right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Almost like I need to throw out the word consistency. Fire the consistent God in order to find consistency, right?
It's really interesting. It's like all of these good things you do, if they're done for the wrong reasons, then they're bad things for you. So
I felt that a lot.
Yeah. And so to deconstruct this house is really uncomfortable because it's like, well, I know this is a good thing. I should read scriptures. I should be consistent. I should not look at porn. I should, like, all these things are wonderful. But when they're acts of shame, then they're going to produce more self-rejection for you. And so if we tear down this whole house, and it's like, well, now I don't know what to do. I'll just be a swearing, masturbating loser who doesn't care about God. I know that's not true, Jared, because I know you. I know if you got rid of all of this, like, systems of trying to be okay, at your core, you're going to be good. You're going to do good. You're going to create good. I know that. I can see that. I don't think you believe that fully yet, right?
So, question is, like, go out and seek that again, like seek what I had on the retreat. And there's been several moments where I've done that, and I have felt God's love and felt that peace again, but not as strong as I did on the mountain. But what is that? What is that work? Because to me, it seems like work, right? It's like giving all of your comfortableness away and stepping into, like, uncomfortableness for the rest of my life.
What is God sending to you by way of message? Because I'm not even going to say telling you to do, because that would make you feel like controlling again. But what are the impressions you get when you actually have those moments with God? Who does he say you are, and what does he say you should do that you're afraid of?
Not quite sure. I mean, one of them is probably go to school and start the therapy route to help other people. But I can give 1,000 reasons why that, shouldn't work right now. You shouldn't do that right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something you can weigh out in the pros and cons, but where you're going is that there's going to be these little impressions, and it might be a big thing like going to school or changing your career. It might be a little thing like accepting a compliment or doing your dailies today, just to reinforce not that you're a good person, but because to treat yourself like you do matter, like God sees you. It could be any of those impressions, but wherever the fear is the place you probably need to be acting opposite right now. Brannon talks about this a lot, the opposite action skill, which is the thing that you're most afraid of is the thing that needs the attention, and we should act opposite to what our natural response is. So whatever that is, okay, I need to accept a compliment and say thank you. I'm gonna step into and through that. I'm going to continue to have my conversations with God. I love that you're conversing with God in the middle of a freezing cold lake. Like that's awesome, man. Like if he speaks to you there, that's great. Go ahead, Brannon.
Yeah, the cheesy advice of the day. You ready? You need a daily trust fall with God. A daily where it's because this is all about the dark. Like stepping into the dark is what I mean.
Stepping through the dark.
Stepping through the dark because you're controlling. You found these places of comfort and safety, and so that daily trust fall with God might be confronting a guy in denial in your group who's completely in denial, and you're worried what he's going to think about you if you confronted him. That's
even if you relapse this morning.
Yeah, that's trust fall. Like I can confront him, be honest with him, even if he doesn't like it. A trust fall might be, you know, praying to God and saying a swear word or two to God, and seeing, you know, like it could be all kinds of different things, but they're those acts of vulnerability to then feel like I'm loved. When I am me, I am loved, and I am okay. Rather than the opposite. I need to be what I should be in order to be loved. That's the old system. Does that make sense, Jared?
Yeah, almost like I'm still putting up a face to be good enough for God even.
Yeah.
And I don't think I do it on purpose, but maybe just learning to recognize those systems that bring that up.
One of the big things that you identified was, yeah, I feel God's love still, God's there, but when it comes to other people, I really worry what they think about me. And so your cave that you fear to enter, this darkness that you can step into, is being more authentic and out there with other people and letting go of what they think about you. There's opportunity every day there for that one.
Or stepping into that and accepting it. Did you see the deep breath? Yeah. Like, oh, yeah. I just gave the challenge to another member of the Rising Sun group that you're a part of just this week. So you might take it too, that he struggles with similar things, that I want him to talk to 20 people in the next 2 weeks and actually ask them what they think of him, and then accept whatever they say.
Sounds terrible.
And just say thank you. That's all you can say is thank you.
The good stuff would probably be the hardest stuff to accept.
That's just it. You go ask 20 people, I guarantee you're going to have at least 90%, if not more, of good stuff. Yeah. So just accept it and say thank you.
Jared, I don't know a ton about, and we don't have to get into this right now. We don't have time to really, but I don't know a ton about your past trauma and where a lot of these messages were seeded. And I wonder too if some of the trauma is just kind of the rigidity of kind of your spirituality and the way you were raised in that way. But I would also encourage you. So one thing to do is to act against the shame, right? To recognize that you're not going to live in this system anymore, but also go back to understanding what experiences and life, just trauma that you've been through that set up the systems. So that at the very root of it, the very beginning of it, you can say, okay, I understand why I have these protective parts in me. I understand why I've set these systems up, and that's okay that I have, but I don't need to anymore. So to do that trauma work, and I think you are doing some trauma work, correct?
Yeah, I was, and okay. I've gone through a lot, but I haven't in the last little bit since my last therapist left. Okay. But I just met with, holy cow, I forgot the name. My new therapist, and
Natalie,
thank you. Yeah. And need to set up a consistent schedule to do some trauma work, but yeah.
Daily trust falls with God, trauma work, more swearing and more pissing people off.
Again, remember, it's not the actions you're taking, it's the heart with which you're doing them. So, Jared, I don't know. Has this been helpful at all today?
Yeah, no, I think so. I just, what you just barely said, it's the actions in which you do them. And already I'm going to make Brannon puke again. It's like that voice saying, yeah, but you don't like the actions that it takes to go do them. Yeah. So I just have this deep voice that doesn't want me to get better.
There's a difference, I know, Jared, but there's a difference too between, like, I don't like doing anything that's good for me most of the time. Going to the gym sucks. Like, going and being honest with somebody sucks. Like, I don't like doing those things either. It's the heart of willingness to step into that's different than, oh, I can't wait to go do that. Like, you don't have to love doing it in order to do it. You do it because there's a heart in you that knows that it's good for you, if that makes sense.
And maybe I think too much about the action and not like what's on the other end of it, because I've experienced what's on the other end and it is amazing and peaceful and powerful.
Yeah, right.
But I get so focused on like the suck factor of stepping into
I
those.
do think I gotta say, I do think that when like some actions maybe you're not being called to do, but you feel like you need to force yourself to do them, don't. Right? Like, I know you've jumped in a lot of cold water, Jared. You've done that for a reason because it does something for you. That's not fun, but you've done that, right?
Yeah, true.
Maybe reading your scriptures, for example, is something that doesn't bless your life that much or serve you. Maybe you could listen to a book on tape or a really good song that makes you feel God's love or whatever. You don't have to do that just because somewhere along the line somebody's told you that that's what you have to do in order to be okay with God. And I would avoid doing any of those things out of that place.
No, but you've got to go into your relationship with God. And then when you get those impressions, you need to step in with courage and follow what he says. But it's your relationship with God that gives you the impression, and then you go take action. Not because he'll love you more, but because he already loves you. Right?
Yeah. So I had a thought recently that a lot of times, like, I think the goal is like, if I read the scriptures, they will save me. Or if I go to church, it will save me. And I actually think if God is my goal, that's bad. I think connection with God is our goal. And then he can go along with us on the journey. And so I've just got to keep that in mind, that I'm trying to just connect with God, and he's going to go along with me. And if that leads me to scriptures or jumping in a lake or going and knocking on some guy's door and yelling at him or something, as long as God's with me.
That's right.
I like question for you, Jared. And I know we're running out of time, but did Christ love the sinners?
Yeah.
Christ loved. So in his ministry, in his life, you mean he didn't like sit back and be like, nope, can't get close to me. You're the sinner. Can't be next to me. You're the sinner. That's not the case, right?
Right.
So why is that the case for you?
Because my God still isn't Christ most of the time.
Yeah.
Well, that's the process you're in. And I think, Jared, that maybe that's it, is to give yourself some grace that you're in process, that you're having some of these defenses fractured, and yet you cling to those old things. And we all do that. And it's going to be this give and take for a while. And you're in the wrestle you should be in. And you're going the direction that's going to be healthy for you. I think it's just giving yourself permission to be in that wrestle and to recommit to those things every time you realize that you're back in control, or that you're succumbing to the god of shame. Recognize it, meet yourself with compassion, and then do those things Brannon just, suggested to you, and step back in with courage. And maybe it doesn't last. Maybe it lasts a week. Cool. Next time, recommit. Maybe it lasts a day. Cool. Next time, recommit. It'll last 2 weeks. It's the recommitting when you recognize that matters more than even the consistency, because the consistency will come if you recognize, meet yourself with compassion, and recommit to the direction God wants you to go.
Okay.
Jared, have you ever Wim Hofed in a river during winter time?
Not in a river, but I just was up at like a little fish pond that had snow all around and freezing at the edges. But
excellent. Okay, so you've done some painful stuff. If you can do that, then you can. This other like emotional, spiritual stuff, that's a cakewalk. Like, I'm just kidding. But I want to invite you. Come up to my canyon one of these days soon, maybe in the next few weeks, and let's go hit the river. I'll take you up to one of my favorite pools. We'll face some pain together. And I've seen you face pain before, but let's do it. Let's connect with each other and go jump in the river.
Yeah, I'd love that. That'd be great.
Jared, thank you for coming on. For those of you guys listening, there's a lot of stuff here. There's wrestle with God. There's wrestle with shame. I know that this is hitting some nerves for some of you. So if you like it, please share it with other people who could benefit from it. Jared, thank you for your willingness to come on, man.
Thanks, Jared.
Thank you.